a sound.
End of a sound? Close. Not the end of a sound. Do you know, Brandon?
I mean stop.
It does mean to stop. We take a breath usually, but it's at the end of a what?
It's like if you write a word and you're done like that one, you can just put it done.
Okay, you can put the period. I think what she's saying is when you're done with the sentence, where you have quite a few words, and then you're done with that thought and it's stopped, then you would write a period there. The period also tells us, remember, to take a breath whenever we're reading or looking or writing even, to take a breath. So those are our first sight words that we have been looking at this week. I have a poem up here, and we're going to read it. I'm going to read it once by myself, and then I'm going to read it again. And if you'd like to try to join me, you can read along with me. But then we're going to go back and see if we happen to see any of our sight words that we have learned so far. As I was walking. What do we call that part of the story, Amanda?
That story.
What part is that I just read?
That. You just read that. Just.
What part of it is it?
But that story is about a snake going for a walk.
Probably. But what is this part of the story that we always read first? Lainey? The title of the story. Remember that we talked about the title? That's the title. I'm going to read the title again. As I was walking. Now I'm going to begin reading the little poem or the little story. As I was walking, this time you're listening to me. You'll have a chance to join me in a few minutes. As I was walking near the lake, I met a little rattlesnake. He ate so much sweet jelly cake, it made his little belly ache. Okay, you want to try to read it with me this time? All right, let's try to start with the title. As I was walking. As I was walking near the lake, I met a little rattlesnake. He ate so much sweet jelly cake, it made his little belly ache. Very good, nice job. Now let's look at our poem that we read this morning and see, do we see any of our new sight words that we see? Can you come and point? Come and point and show us. Right there, she found a period. Excellent, thank you. Very nice. Oh, only one. You only get to do one. You only get to do one. He did. He found the first I up here. Good job. Jacob, turn around, please. Is that one of our new sight words? Yeah, we have that one. We found that one. Can you find another one? There we go. Thank you very much. Good job. Want to come up and find another one? Thank you for giving her a chance to think. Yep, we found that period. We did. Ah, there's another one. Thank you. So we found both of our periods so far. We found this I. We found this I. Do we see another one? Come on up. There's another one. Very good. Nice job. Thank you. Come on up. Find one. Ah, look at this. What sight word do you think this is? You think it's I. What's right next to it? A T. It looks very similar to this one. Why don't you have a seat? Thank you. We'll talk about it. Looks just like this one, but it has a T. So it is no longer our sight word I. It now makes a new word. Does anybody know what that new word might be? Do you know? At. Oh, so close. She said at. Very close. Not quite. It. This is the sight word it. It. Wrong vowel sound. It. Okay? Very close to that one. So that anytime you see a capital I, you need to make sure that there's not any letters that are all around it, because then it does change the word. But that was a good job. That was close looking. Do we see anything else? I see one that I don't think anybody... You see one? Go ahead. Show me. Ah, what word is that? The. Look. Okay, thank you. So everybody can sit down. So everybody can see. Look at this one. Do you see the?
Yeah.
Very good. Do we see any other words? Lainey? Do we see any others? No. I think we have found them all. We found the sight word I. We found the sight word the. And then we also found our two periods that were also. Why is this not a period? Who remembers that conversation?
Because it got a little round
Yeah.
instead of a little dot.
That's right, exactly. It's not a period because see that little part that hangs down? Does anybody remember what we do call that mark?
A comment.
Close, comma. A comma. Remember when we're reading?
Comma.
We take just a
Funny
quick,
word.
yep, it is a funny word. We take just a quick breath during a comma, but then we stop when we see a period. Absolutely. Let's read it again. You ready? Have everybody sitting on their bottoms. All some eyes up here. Remember, I want to see pleasant faces looking at me. Very good. Let's read our title. Ready? As I was walking. As I was walking near the lake, I met a little rattlesnake. He ate so much sweet jelly cake, it made his little belly ache. Very nice job. In just a minute, when you go back to your seat for independent reading time, you're going to be taking out your books on your level or even your poetry folder, and you're going to continue looking for all of the sight words that we have learned so far. Now, you're not going to raise your hand and you're not going to say, oh, here it is, Miss Ellis, I found one. You're not going to do that. Remember when we come across one when you're reading, you just think to yourself, oh, there's that word, though. Oh, yeah, I see the word see. I don't need to tell anybody. I just kind of need to make note of it so at the end of our writer's workshop, we can come back and we can share what we found in our stories or in our poems that we are reading. Okay? Not only are you looking at the sight words, though, remember we're still practicing our reading strategies, the things that good readers do, looking at the picture, pointing to the words, and getting your mouth ready. Okay? Very quietly, I'd like you to stand up, please. If you have any questions, raise your hand when you get to your seat, and I'll come to you. Got the chair right there? Okay.
What shirts do?
I don't know. We'll talk about that later. Is that the book that you were reading in your library a few minutes ago? Good. Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, okay? Once we're done with our group. Let's review. The past couple times you've come to our table, we've reviewed some of the sight words that we've been learning in the classroom, and we've been also looking the right way to read a book. So let's start with our review. Who remembers what this word is? Chase? Remember? It's not the word see. Good try. The. I. See. Period. Good job, guys. Very nice. Why don't you take a look at the front of this book? Look at the picture for me. What do we see in the picture? What do you see? She sees watermelon. What do you see? Andrea, hold on. What do you see? Ooh, strawberries. What do you see?
Strawberries, apples, berries,
Good.
and watermelon, and juice.
Good. Good. How about you?
And grapes.
Grapes. And you saw the watermelon, didn't you? Very good. I would like you to see if you can find the title of this book. I saw right away all of you went like this. How did you know that that was the title? You think it's just because it's the first word? What else? What do you think?
This whole letter is all the title.
You think it's all of these letters are the title? Okay. What are you thinking? Why do you think this might be the title? Why did you point to it?
He's white. It's got the F, the R, the E, the I, the T.
Okay, so you said it was white was the first thing, and you saw all the letters. What do you think? Why do you think that this is the title? Because it has fruit on the front. So that's why you think this might be food? Well, actually you're right. And the things that you said were all reasons why you think this is the title. It's a little bit bigger. It's brighter. It kind of sticks out. So you're absolutely right. This is the title of our story. Would anybody like to take a guess what the title might be? What do you think? You think it's the food? Okay. What do you think the title might be? You think it might be the fruit? What do you think?
Fruit.
Fruit? You think it might be fruit? What do you think?
I think
Well, what is that?
I don't know.
You don't know what that is? Well, I will tell you what the name of the title is of the story. It is Fruit. I know some of you thought it was the fruit, but do we see the sight word the in front of it? We don't, do we? So really, the title of this book is just Fruit. Let's go through and just look at the pictures. Let's turn to the front, the first page that we see. Let's just talk about the pictures. We went one too far. There we go. What do we see right here? What do we see? Well, right here. That's a banana. Very good. We have a banana. And then what do we have? An orange. Okay, turn the page. Yeah, went too far. It's okay. All right, what do we see here? Watermelon, and then a strawberry. Good. Turn the page. Turn the page.
Apple.
Hold on. There we go. What do we see here?
Apple.
Apple. And what about this one? Pear. That's right. It's a pear. And on the last page, what do we see again? Everything. Where have you seen this picture before? Where have you seen it? Yep, the very front cover. It's the same one. Oh, look, we even found one strawberry on the back, haven't we? Very good. This morning, you'll notice if you'll turn back to the page, we went too far with the banana here. The banana. Our book this morning has a pattern. Who remembers what a pattern is? What is that?
Yellow, blue, yellow, blue.
It can be yellow, blue, like we learned in math time. What else can a pattern be?
Orange, purple, orange.
Could be an orange, purple. What do you think?
Yellow, orange, yellow.
Could be yellow, orange. This is a pattern, though, with words, meaning it's going to continue to repeat some of the exact same words on every single page. I want you to look at this page and on this page and notice, do you see any of the exact same words? And I want you to put your finger on the words that are the same. Put your finger on them. I want to see it. Put your finger on one finger on one word and one finger on the other word. That's going to be the same. Very good. Let's look at her book. She just had her finger here and her finger here. Look at that. Is that the same word? It is. Look, is that the same word? My fingers are? It is. This is the word here. Our pattern on every page is here is the. Can you repeat that with me? Ready? Here is the. That is the pattern that you're going to find on every page. What's going to happen in just a minute is I'm going to be listening to him first. And I want to ask him some questions. While I'm working with him, I want the rest of you to be being quiet, looking at the pictures, seeing if you can point to the words, see if you can read some of the words, see if you notice the pattern on every page, okay? And then when it comes to be your turn, then he will start to read by himself, and I'll listen to the next person. And we're going to keep on going until I've had a chance to listen to everybody, okay? All right, go ahead. The three of you may go ahead and begin, and I'm going to listen over here. Can you show me the front of the book? Okay, but can you show me the front of the book? Is that the very front? There we go. There's the front of the book. Very good. And where was the title that we talked about? Right up there. Fruit. Excellent. Where's the back of the book? Very good. If I was going to begin to read this book, where would I start to read? I would read. What is the first page I would read? Okay, after I read the title on the front cover, where's the first page that I would start to read? Okay. Do we need to read this page at all? Do you remember the name of what this page is called? What is this page called? It says fruit, but remember this is the title page. The title page is going to tell us the exact same name that's on the front cover. We should see it again on the very next page. But you are right, when we begin to read the story, we are going to start right here. What did you notice about this picture? What was on it? It's a picture of a what? It is. If I'm going to begin to read that sentence, where would I start to read? Yes. I see your fingers moving in this direction. Why don't you start here and go this way? Why? It doesn't, but why don't I start here? Can I read this word first? Right. And I need to start where? I do. I need to start over here. If I started back here, banana, the is here. Is that going to make much sense? No, and I'm not going to be following the way the words usually go in a book, right? The direction, exactly. I always need to start here, and I need to move this direction. You're right. Right, exactly. I need to go this way. Can you read this first page for me? Do you remember what the pattern was? Remember? Listen to me, and I'm going to read it. Here is the banana. Very good. I should read it one more time. And I want to watch you point. Here is the banana. Good. How about here? I hear the fruit. Good. All right, listen. Look at me for a minute. When you're pointing to your words, you want to make sure that you don't brush your finger. Your finger and your mouth have to go and say the same thing at the same time. So let's go real slow. You ready? Here is the good. And it helps too if you're underneath the words. I'll show you. You stay underneath. That way you'll be able to see it and read it at the same time. I'm going to let you continue to read quietly, and I'm going to listen to your friend next to you. Okay? Go ahead. Show me the front this way. Very good. Do you remember the name of the paper, the title of the story? F-R-U-T. That you spelled the letters, but do you remember what the name of the book was? Very good. It's just the word fruit. Because remember, there were no other words before it. Remember when we talked about there was no word the before it? It's just the word fruit. Good. Can you show me the back of the book? Very good. If I was going to begin reading that book, where would I start? Show me. Show me. You need to be reading, please. Okay, after I read the title, where would I start?
I see
Where the banana is. Do you remember what the name of this page is? What we call this page? After we've read the title on the front, and we open it up, and we see the title again. This page has a special name. Do you remember what it's called? What is it called? It is. The title of the book is fruit. This page is called the title page. Do you remember that? We talked about that before. After the front cover, it says fruit. Then we can turn to the title page, and then let's take a look at the first page. You notice that there was a banana on this page. If you were going to start to read the words, where would you start to read them? Point to the first word. What first word are you going to read? Yes. Remember, this one is here is the banana, but you're right. Why would you start here? Why don't you start back here?
Here is the banana.
What is that called? Do you remember?
The period.
It's the period. We don't start at the period, do we? We need to start at the capital letter. That's the beginning of our sentence. Very good. I want you to point to the words as I read them to you. Ready? Here is the banana. Very good. I like the way that you pointed to the words. Can we do it here also? Ready? Here is the orange. Very good. Can you show me how to turn the page? Very nice. Where are you going to begin reading here? Good. I'm going to let you continue to read by yourself while I listen to your friend next to you. Remember, you're going to point to each word, and you're going to try to read them and notice the pictures that are on them, okay? All right, very good. Okay, sweetie. Notice that you're reading the book. We call this part of the book the back. That's right. What do we call this part? The front. What do we call this? It is called fruit, but what do we call this? The title. Absolutely, the title. It is called fruit. But do you remember what the name of this page is? Title page. The title page. Good. Where would I start to read on this page? Yeah, right here. Very good. Can you read that? Very good. Good. You should be reading. You should be reading. Excellent job. You read that entire book all by yourself. Hold on just a minute, okay? You read this entire book all by yourself. Nice job. Can you read it again quietly while I listen to your friend next to you? Those are questions that the teacher, could ask you whenever you're all done if I wanted to. They're just extra questions at the end, okay? But I would like you, instead of reading this page, go back to the beginning and just start to read it all over again while I read with my last friend, okay? Fruit. And what do we call that? That is the title. Very good. Did you hear me asking them the same questions? Is that why you're so quick? You are such a smart boy. Absolutely. Very good. Show me where you would begin to read. After I read the title page, or at the title on that cover, where would I begin reading after that?
On the title page.
Okay, very good. And it says what again? Fruit. Excellent.
Here is the banana. Here is the orange.
Very good. What is this called? What is that called?
The period.
What does that mean?
That means to stop and take a breath.
Stop and take a breath. Excellent. Keep going.
I was pointing to
I love it. Yeah, you absolutely need to continue to start to point to the punctuation because that's going to give you some important information there. Very good.
Here is the wall. Here is the
We should be reading.
strawberry. Here is the apple. Here is the peach.
Ooh, close. Let's look at it. I want you to look. Now, you're reading some of these words, and you said that one in here. This one does begin with a sound, but look at it. What sound do you hear at the end? You see it all R. Does an R make the ch sound again? Yeah, that makes sense. It probably would make sense for it. Let's try that one again. Here is the pear. Yeah, that's a pear. Very good.
Here is the fruit.
Excellent. If you would have said peach, would that still have made sense in the story? Yeah, because isn't a peach a part of pear? It's a kind of fruit, isn't it? If you had said plane, another P word, would here is the plane, would that have made sense in the story? Talking about an airplane, would that make sense with this story? Why?
Because it's not a fruit.
It's not a fruit. Absolutely, it's not a fruit. Good job. All right, everybody. You all had a chance to go through and read the story today. And who remembers the name of our story? Fruit. Excellent. Very good. When you go back to your literacy station in just a few minutes, I want you to even continue to practice some of the things we talked about. I want you to look for the title of the story. I want you to take a picture walk through your books, okay, before you begin to read it. Because when we did that at the beginning of the story, it helped us find out what some of these harder words were going to be. Because I don't know about you, but I would have a hard time reading this word watermelon if I did not see a picture of a watermelon here. So let's think what you're going to do. Practice your reading strategies that we've learned. Practice taking a look at the pictures before we start reading a book, pointing to the words, remembering some of our sight words. Okay? We're going to think about all of those things as we begin to read. Yes, do you have a question?
I was looking through the spider book first.
You were?
And I was looking for the shark book.
That's right, because you had a question about the sharks. Well, when you go back and find those books, I want you to think about some of the things that we did today, some of the things that good readers do when we sit down and we begin to read and learn how to read. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. You may go back to your literacy station.